Welcome to Edumon tutorials on object-oriented software engineering. Why do we need to learn software engineering? When something goes wrong with your application, you try to find an immediate solution. For example, you're watching television and the screen goes blank. What would you do? At least I would start hitting my remote. See, you trying to find an immediate solution to correct the fault in your application is what we call software engineering. In technical terms, software engineering applies the knowledge and theoretical understanding gained through computer science to build high quality software products and solve the software problems. Software engineering is one of the highest paid fields now, and I mean it when I say this subject is really important if you're planning to pursue masters in software engineering. Before we go any deeper, let's get familiar with a few terms related to object design. Object is an entity with characteristics which uniquely identify it. For example, dog is an object. It has states like breed, color, and behaviors like wagging its tail and barking. And class is a blueprint using which objects are created, and it defines the behaviors of its objects. For example, consider a class bicycle. Hero Cycle and Atlas Cycle are instances of class bicycle. And objects communicate by message passing. Abstraction is hiding the implementation details and exposing only relevant details to the user. For example, when you drive a car, you only need to know about how the gas pedal or blinker steering wheel work, but you don't need to know how the motor works or internal engineering of the car. So, exposing the internal engineering and other complex implementations involved in the car would make driving more confusing for the driver. And encapsulation is binding data and methods into objects. For example, we have Bluetooth in our mobile. When I connect to another Bluetooth enabled device or another mobile phone using Bluetooth, my functionality is restricted only within my phone, but I don't have any control over the other phone, right? And inheritance, similar to the real world concept, is inheriting characteristics of parent classes. This enables code reusability. For example, like you inherited beauty of your mother and bravery of your father. And polymorphism is an object exhibiting different behaviors. For example, a man at the same time can act as a father, a son, a brother. So this is what we mean by polymorphism. Okay, here's an overview of today's lecture. Let's try to understand the nature of software by comparing it to other engineering streams. Like mechanical engineers design mechanical systems and electrical engineers design electrical systems. Software engineers design, you guessed it right, software systems. The first characteristic of software is it is highly intangible. By intangible, we mean we cannot view or visualize the design of software. It lacks any physical existence, so it is hard to visualize the design or estimate the amount of work or time it took to design the software. And the next characteristic is mass production of duplicate pieces of software is hassle free and economical. By this we mean software can be widely distributed by copying over CD-ROMs, and this process of manufacturing software is quite hassle free and economical. In other engineering streams, engineers are concerned about manufacturing and labor costs. Manufacturing and labor costs are absent in software. The only cost of software is its developmental costs. Software industry is labor intensive. By this we mean since the manufacturing process of other engineering streams was quite tough, they kept evolving their manufacturing processes, and now they can produce increasing amounts of product with very much less labor. And since software lacks any such manufacturing or construction machinery, it remains labor intensive. And it is easy for a software developer to create a piece of software that is difficult to understand or modify. By this we mean a novice programmer. Novice programmer is an amateur programmer like you and me who develop software in a software which fails 5 test cases out of 10. So a novice programmer does develop a complex design, but this design is highly disjointed or disorganized in its terms of design. So it is difficult to understand a software that is developed by a novice programmer. And software is easy to modify. Since it is easy to modify, we often make many modifications. The actual pain resides in finding an error and rectifying the error in correct way. So, like we discussed above, software does not wear out unlike other engineering systems, but its design worsens as it changes repeatedly. So, when you encounter error after error, what would you do? You would modify it again and again. Many such modifications would deteriorate the design. I mean, worsen the design, that the final version of the design and original version of the design are no way matched, no way related. So when you keep making modifications after modifications, the design completely changes and it doesn't even resemble the original design. So what would you do? You would start redesigning it from the scratch. This is one disadvantage of software. And let's discuss the types of software. Custom software is the first type. Custom software is a software which is designed or developed to meet needs of specific organization or a specific customer. So a custom software is often developed by the company that uses it or is contracted to other software companies. Examples of custom software are air traffic control systems and software for managing finances of large organizations. For example, you want to write a Java program. You would use Java compiler. But do you use air traffic control systems? They are used by airport authorities or Indian Army. But we don't use air traffic control system to write a Java program, right? This is what I mean by custom software. They are organization specific. And generic software is meant to be used by open public, is meant to be sold on open market, and is meant for the use of general public. By this I mean we use Notepad, WordPad, Excel, web browsers, operating systems. They are all available on open market, and anyone can use it. They are not restricted to the use of any single organization. They can be used by you and me. Generic software is also called commercial off-the-shelf software, and it is also sometimes called shrink-wrapped software. And organizations often tend to use generic software instead of custom software because generic software is cheaper in terms of cost. Embedded software is the third type. Embedded software runs on specific hardware devices and is sold on open market. If you want to manipulate with the software embedded in hardware devices, then you would have to replace the entire hardware device. So examples of embedded software are washing machines, DVD players, microwave ovens, etc. This table depicts the differences between different types of software we discussed. We already talked what software engineering is. The term software engineering comprises of two terms, software and engineering. Software is not just program code, it is collection of integrated program along with its related documentation that has the requirements, design models and user manuals. And engineering is all about developing products using well-defined scientific principles. So together we define software engineering as the process of solving customers' problems by the systematic development and evaluation of large, high-quality software systems within cost, time, and other constraints. Now we need to pay attention to each term in the definition. Software engineering is the process of solving customers' problems. Now what are customers' problems? Customers' problems are mostly human problems. that is human activity. So software engineers must therefore learn to communicate effectively and negotiate with people to understand what kind of problems they want to get rectified, and must understand what impact the proposed software system must have on its users productivity, and solving customers problems by the systematic development and evaluation. The next term is systematic development and evaluation. And so what do we mean by evaluation? Evaluation is the continuous change in a system over a period of years until it becomes old. This constant change is what we call maintenance or evaluation. And the change is not performed overnight. It is done in a systematic way, and it is an integral part of software engineering. And the next term is high quality software systems. Now, software systems are always complex and quite large. A system of thousands of lines of code must be completely understood by one person, and this would certainly take a lot of time, too long to develop or even design. So therefore teamwork is essential in dealing with large complex systems in order to finally develop an efficient and working system. And finally, the last term is cost, time, and other constraints. These are the limitations involved in designing or developing a software product. So what do we mean by cost, time, and other constraints? Cost is the total developmental cost of software product. Time is the amount of time it takes from the start to the final moment it takes to deliver the final product. It is what we call deployment. So not only these, the other constraints are completing the project within finite resources, and it isn't beneficial to do something when there is no profit. And also, if there is another organization that could do the same task more efficiently, then there's high chance that they would contract the task out to the other company rather than us. So software engineers must therefore ensure that their systems can produce within a limited budget and within a certain due date. Achieving this requires careful planning from the initial stages and sticking to the plan no matter what, in a disciplined way.